What if Baphomet holds the blueprint for reality manipulation that ancient mystics and modern elites have weaponized for centuries? What if everything you know about Baphomet is strategic deception? There's a symbol that's been deliberately twisted, weaponized, and turned into a cultural nightmare. Baphomet. Just hearing that name triggers instant revulsion in most people. Horns, inverted stars, a figure seemingly ripped from humanity's darkest fears. For generations, we've been programmed to see this as pure evil incarnate, as satanic worship in its rawest form. But here's what they don't want you to know: this entire narrative is manufactured fear, a carefully constructed wall designed to keep you away from something genuinely transformative. Let's rewind to the 14th century. The Knights Templar, warrior monks who'd accumulated massive wealth and esoteric knowledge from the East, were systematically destroyed by the French crown and the Catholic Church. Under horrific torture, some Templars confessed to worshipping a mysterious head, a demonic entity called Baphomet. These forced confessions became the foundation for centuries of anti-occult propaganda. But here's the detail almost everyone misses: there's zero solid historical evidence the Templars actually worshipped anything by that name. What does exist is a trail of hidden knowledge these warrior monks brought back from their crusades, wisdom so threatening it challenged the spiritual monopoly of medieval power structures. But that's not even the strangest part. The image we recognize as Baphomet today didn't exist during the Templar era. It wasn't until 1854 that French occultist Eliphas Lévi created the iconic representation we know now. And Lévi wasn't drawing a demon. He was encoding profound Hermetic principles into a single image. Every element of this drawing carries layers of alchemical, Kabbalistic, and philosophical meaning that transcends simple blasphemy. And this is where everything shifts. When we observe Baphomet through the lens of esoteric tradition, we're not looking at a malevolent entity, but at a map. A living diagram of transformational processes governing both the universe and human consciousness. Secret societies, high-level initiates, and even powerful figures in the modern world have studied this symbolism not out of rebellion, but because they understood something fundamental. Baphomet represents the hidden mechanics of reality itself. That pentagram on its forehead isn't a symbol of evil, but of mastery over nature's 5 elements. Those feminine breasts on a masculine body aren't perversion, but the sacred union of polarities that generates all creation. Those wings aren't demonic, but represent spiritual ascension. And that flaming torch between the horns? It represents divine consciousness blazing through the darkness of ignorance. For years, those controlling global narratives have profited from the fear this symbol provokes. Because people who fear occult knowledge will never seek the ancestral powers Baphomet truly teaches. But right now, in this moment, you're about to pierce through that grand illusion: how ancient alchemy codes human consciousness. Upgrades. The real magic of Baphomet lives in its alchemical architecture. And when I talk about alchemy, not referring to turning lead into gold in some medieval laboratory. I'm talking about the great work, the secret process by which human consciousness can be transmuted from its base, primitive, sleeping state into something infinitely more powerful. Ancient alchemical masters knew the true laboratory wasn't in flasks and furnaces, but within the human soul itself. Look again at Lévi's figure. Notice the details most people completely ignore. On Baphomet's chest, there's a caduceus, the staff entwined by 2 serpents. This isn't just that medical symbol you see at pharmacies. The caduceus represents 2 primal forces coursing through the human body, known in Eastern traditions as Ida and Pingala, energy channels rising up the spine. When these opposing forces, masculine and feminine, solar and lunar, are balanced and unified, something awakens. Kundalini, the serpent fire of illumination. Only here's the detail that shatters everything. Baphomet possesses feminine breasts, yet also male organs. One arm points upward, the other downward, illustrating the ultimate Hermetic axiom: as above, so below. This androgynous figure is an aberration, but perfection. It's the alchemical rebus, the being that transcended duality and integrated opposites within itself. This is alchemy's true objective: dissolving illusory separations between spirit and matter, light and shadow, good and evil, and emerging as something entirely new. And here's where it gets genuinely unsettling. This transformation isn't poetic metaphor, it's a real process, measurable in terms of expanded consciousness, altered reality perception, and capabilities most consider impossible. High-level practitioners, from ancient times to influential Silicon Valley figures, have studied these principles because they work. Modern technology might be creating artificial intelligence, but alchemy has always known how to create superior intelligence through internal transformation. Baphomet's wings symbolize the spiritual ascension resulting from this great work. But notice, these aren't angelic dove wings, they're bat wings, creature of night, symbol of one who learned to navigate through darkness. Because the alchemical path doesn't avoid shadow, it integrates it. True power emerges when you descend into your own internal hell, confront your personal demons, and transmute that psychological lead into spiritual gold. Those flame between Baphomet's horns? That's not hellfire. That's the torch of awakened consciousness, the same fire Prometheus stole from the gods. It's the light of gnosis, direct knowledge that transforms everything it touches. And that light is accessible to anyone brave enough to look beyond manufactured fear. Why Baphomet maps the universe's hidden operating system. We're entering territory where most fear to tread. Baphomet doesn't just represent individual transformation through alchemy. This symbol is a complete map of the cosmic forces structuring all reality. When you understand Baphomet at its deepest level, you're looking at creation's actual blueprint, the source code governing everything from subatomic particles to entire galaxies. In Kabbalistic tradition, there's a structure called the Tree of Life, a diagram of 10 interconnected spheres representing different levels of divine manifestation. Baphomet embodies this entire system in one figure. Each part of its body corresponds to a sephira, an emanation of the divine. Its head represents Keter, the crown, the primordial source of all existence. Its arms are chest and Gabora, mercy and severity, complementary forces maintaining the universe in dynamic equilibrium. But here's where it gets truly disturbing. Observe Baphomet's arms pointing in opposite directions. One points to the white moon, the other to the black moon. This gesture isn't random. It reveals the fundamental Hermetic secret. All creation emerges from interplay between opposing polarities, light and darkness, order and chaos, creation and destruction. Without this constant tension between contrary forces, the universe would collapse into either stagnation or annihilation. And this opens a doorway few dare to cross. If Baphomet represents the forces balancing the cosmos, then understanding this symbol means understanding how reality itself is woven. It's no coincidence that tech corporation leaders, literally shaping humanity's new digital reality, study occultism and Hermetic symbolism. They know the same principles governing alchemical transformations also govern complex systems, algorithms, and even artificial intelligence. The pentagram on Baphomet's forehead points upward, representing mastery over 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. These aren't merely ancient concepts. They're archetypal forces still structuring our reality experience. Earth is stability and physical manifestation. Water is emotion and fluidity. Fire is will and transformation. Air is intellect and communication. And ether is the field connecting everything, the quantum space where all possibilities exist simultaneously. When elite practitioners work with these principles, they're not performing mystical theater. They're accessing fundamental levers that move reality. And Baphomet, in its symbolic complexity, functions as the instruction manual for this cosmic operation. The question isn't whether this works. The question is whether you're ready to see how deep this actually goes. If you're sensing there's something massive happening here, drop awakening in the comments below. What part of reality would you want to restructure if you understood these cosmic principles? And if you're recognizing the real power behind these symbols, hit that like button and subscribe, because we're going even deeper into this revelation. How mystery schools protected this knowledge for millennia. Here, we reach the beating heart of one of history's greatest secrets. Baphomet wasn't created by Eliphas Lévi in 1854. Lévi merely gave visual form to knowledge transmitted silently through secret societies, mystical orders, and mystery schools since the most ancient times. Egyptian Hermeticism, Gnosticism, Rosicrucianism, high-degree Freemasonry, all these traditions understood that certain knowledge is too dangerous for open dissemination. Why dangerous? Because knowledge is power, and power in the wrong hands destroys civilizations. Ancient mystery schools developed complex systems of progressive initiation precisely to ensure only those with spiritual maturity, mental discipline, and pure intention access the deepest secrets. Baphomet was one of these secrets, a symbol functioning as a mnemonic device, an image condensing entire volumes of esoteric wisdom into a single visual representation. Only here's what almost nobody realizes. These secret societies didn't guard knowledge just from spiritual elitism. They understood that symbols like Baphomet operate at profound levels of the human psyche. When you meditate on this image, when you study its meanings layer by layer, something begins shifting in your consciousness. Neural patterns reorganize. Perceptions expand. You start seeing invisible connections between apparently separate phenomena. And this is where everything changes. 2nd century Gnostics already taught that true salvation doesn't come from blind faith, but from gnosis, direct experiential knowledge of divine reality. Baphomet embodies this Gnostic philosophy. It doesn't demand worship. It offers understanding, doesn't require submission. It provokes transformation. And this is precisely why institutions based on dogma and control have always feared and demonized this symbol. But here's the most disturbing part. When you examine contemporary spiritual movements, the resurgence of interest in occultism, chaos magic, applied Hermeticism, and even how influential tech world figures engage with these themes, you notice a pattern. Baphomet is returning to collective consciousness, not as a demon to be feared, but as an archetype to be understood and integrated. Observe the flaming torch between Baphomet's horns. It represents the light of knowledge burning through ignorance's darkness. It's the same light Prometheus stole from the gods to give humanity. The same illumination Buddha achieved under the Bodhi tree. The same gnosis Christ taught his closest disciples. Different symbols, same fundamental truth. Power resides within you, waiting to be awakened. Why Baphomet lives and breathes inside you right now. We've arrived at the final point of this journey, but not at the mystery's end. Because Baphomet was never just a dusty historical image in occult books. This symbol is a living archetype, a psychic force continuing to operate in human consciousness across centuries. And at this exact moment, as you absorb this information, something within you is being activated, recognizing truths your soul always knew, but your rational mind forgot. Let's be direct about what's really happening here. Contemporary spiritual movements, from neopaganism to chaos magic, from modern Hermeticism to altered consciousness exploration, are all rediscovering the principles Baphomet represents. Why? Because we're living in an era of ancient structure dissolution. Old institutional religions are losing power. Traditional narratives about good and evil, sacred and profane are collapsing. And in that vacuum, symbols like Baphomet emerge again, offering more complex, integrative, and truthful frameworks for understanding reality. But that's not even the strangest part. What few realize is that Baphomet teaches radical self-mastery. That gesture with the arms, one pointing up and one down, isn't just abstract philosophy. It's practical instruction. You possess both divinity and animality within yourself. You're simultaneously a mortal spirit and mortal flesh. And the path to true power isn't denying one pole for the other, but consciously integrating them, becoming master of both. And this opens a door few dare to cross. When you accept your own dual nature, when you stop warring against parts of yourself taught as evil or inferior, when you integrate your shadow instead of repressing it, you access levels of personal power most will never imagine possible. This is the real secret elite societies always knew. Power doesn't come from angelic purity, but from conscious totality. Look again at Baphomet's eyes in Lévi's drawing. They look back at you, not with malevolence, but with knowledge, with the wisdom of thousands of years of esoteric tradition condensed into a single gaze. And here's the final truth that changes everything. Baphomet isn't judging you. It's inviting you to awaken ancestral powers sleeping in your own consciousness, inviting you to become the alchemist of your own reality. If you felt this call resonate within you, comment transformation below and share this video with someone ready to see beyond illusions. What symbol or archetype do you feel is calling you toward profound transformation? Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because this journey through hidden mysteries is just beginning. The key is in your hands. The question is, do you have the courage to use it?